Hi everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background and I'm the author of the books Truth and Empathy, How to Find Your Soulmate, as well as Theta-Waves Meditation. And I'll put links to my books below. This video is about why most married women with children are unhappy. It is kind of interesting because over the centuries we have told women that the best way to improve their overall sense of well-being is to marry, to have children, and to have this home life. And also is a way for men to show that they value women because he wants her to be his wife and the mother of his children. But ironically, many women who are married with children nowadays are unhappy. We can look at different factors that can explain the state of affairs and what we can do to prevent this from occurring in the future. The first aspect of this issue is that most women are right brain dominant and most men are left brain dominant. And people who are right brain dominant are more agreeable. And they tend to fare better in relationships. In other words, they are people-oriented, whereas people who are left-brain dominant are object-oriented, and they make most of the decisions based on logic, whereas someone who is agreeable makes decisions based on ethics and morals and take the human element into account. So when a person who is right brain dominant, and also the fact with women is that they have hormones that actually influence that, so it's more of an enhanced sort of like agreeableness compared to, let's say, you can find men who are right brain dominant, but it won't be at the extreme of most women. So if you marry a woman to the average man, is that her emotional and spiritual needs will not be met. And that already is an issue. So what usually happens is that the person who's the most agreeable tends to accommodate the one who's left brain dominant. So over time, what happens is that unless the woman has a way to outsource her emotional and spiritual needs, she won't be happy in this union. So the average married man will say that their wives is their best friend, but the wives will not say that their husband is their best friend. That is an issue because, as people, to be happily married, you have to be with a person that you feel the closest to. And the best way to know if you married the right person is that if both of you can say honestly that you are with your best friend. And that rarely happens in heterosexual relationships. That if a woman decides to have children, is that her household chores actually increase compared to the man. So back in the day, life was more affordable, so you could have only one breadwinner, which was the man. But nowadays, both men and women have to work full-time to make ends meet. The first 10 years of a child's life requires a lot of time and attention, and that work usually lands on the wife's shoulders. So there's rarely any time for the woman to recuperate and rejuvenate, so because it's continuous. The other challenge is that up to now in the Western world, women earn about 85% of a man's salary, even for equal qualifications. So a woman can't afford to, let's say, even get a divorce because she may not be able to provide for her family. And interestingly enough, even in these conditions, about 70% of the time in the Western world, it's the woman who files for divorce. So when you think about it, if married life is something that's very much promoted, it's something that is viewed positively, and ultimately the woman decides to walk away, although she might end up in poverty because obviously she doesn't have the same sort of income as the man. So all this is that it tells you that most women are not happily married. Over time, if a woman absorbs a lot of chronic stress and doesn't have an outlet, she can end up having a lot of emotional and physical health issues. I would encourage people to read the work by Dr. Gabor Mate. He wrote the book When the Body Says No, and he talks about how many women have autoimmune diseases because of the fact that they cannot speak up. And when it's say you cannot really express yourself, the body finds a different way, and it often is expressed as an autoimmune disease. And I've seen that in my clients, which is, to summarize, what happens is that most women are right brain dominant and they marry men who are left brain dominant. Their emotional and spiritual needs are not being met. They are working for lower salaries, although they may be as qualified as men. They have young children that require a lot of time and energy. They might have to put their careers on hold for a while to care for these children, so they're not advancing in their careers as fast, and maybe they don't have time to really explore other interests or to really discover who they are, because most women have to have children in their 20s or 30s. When you get to your 40s, it's more difficult to actually start a family. So all this is that they're put in a situation where they have to choose between themselves and their personal growth and being married often to someone they're not really in love with, because let's face it, most women will marry a man and have a job, and with this situation it's very difficult to really feel fulfilled. So one of the best ways to prevent all these issues is for women who are right brain dominant to marry a man who is also right brain dominant, and this person should be your best friend, and by doing so your emotional and spiritual needs are met. You're more likely to negotiate and find a middle ground so that your needs are being met, and also you can grow together over time. So it's not about just finding a mate, but it's finding the right person, and it's only that this has a ripple effect on so many people. If you have children and they're brought up in an environment where mommy and daddy actually like each other and really are best friends, it creates a healthy environment to bring up these children, and they're less likely obviously to have a divorce and create a lot more problems down the road. So all this is that what we see in terms of what happens in the Western world and working mothers, it has to do with the fact that we've not really put our finger on the root cause, and most of it has to do with the fact that most women have not married the right man because they don't know their brain type and be able to identify someone who's very much like themselves. So really, as people, if this person is not your best friend, you should not marry them, because it will not be sustainable long term. So not only you, but eventually the husband also will feel it, because you will drift away from each other over time. So let me know what you think about the content of this video by commenting below. If you like this video, if you learned something, please click on the like button. Also remember to click on the option bell to be notified of other videos I'm going to be making. Subscribe to my channel, and we will talk soon.